Hello, guys, gals, non binary pals. I'm Avery, or Hazel, or Kylie.
Hello. No, I'm not that. It is Lily.
Yeah, and
It was
on Wednesday.
strange. I'm sorry, I just had a strange urge. Like, hello, is it me you're looking for?
I think that's an Adele song. But anyway,
Not
on Wednesdays we wear pink. Today, for our free movie of the month for May 2022, we're covering Mean Girls. You know, the film from 2004.
That's not the quote I thought you would say. I was really
Why
hoping you
not?
would just say, she doesn't even go here.
Yeah, that doesn't really work.
No,
And
because I don't go here.
but anyway, yeah. So obviously this is a really great comedy movie, but it also has a lot more going on than just the comedy aspects, which is nice because it's really difficult to cover and analyze comedy movies on a podcast like this if they don't have something else of substance to them.
We always just talk about how much that made us
Yeah,
laugh. I
but
don't know.
regarding this movie, apparently it's based on
Funny
a book
joke.
called Queen Bees and Wannabes. I didn't know that until we went to do it for this podcast, and I've seen the movie multiple times. I just noticed it in the opening credits, and I was like, huh, well, that's interesting. I might read that at some point. If it's, you know what? I'm not going to spoil that. Hello, Editing Avery here to let you guys know that the book isn't actually a story. Apparently, it's a self-help book for parents to help their daughters through school and stuff. Yeah. So, we're both idiots. Cool. Have fun. I'm going to continue the rest of the podcast now. As usual, this movie will contain spoilers. This movie will contain spoilers. Yeah. This podcast will contain spoilers for Mean Girls. You can find a link below to rent or purchase the movie. It is also free on Pluto TV.
All movies have spoilers for themselves.
Not movies that don't make sense.
Okay, so movies that physically do not have spoilers for themselves. But movies that you can be spoiled on do have spoilers for themselves. So, I watched this on Pluto TV, and it does something interesting. So it doesn't show you where, you're going to get an ad break and whatnot. But it shows you the entire time plus ads.
That's weird.
So I find that, yeah. It's like when an ad is playing, you're still on the same, how should I say, timer, clock sort of thing. And it's still counting down.
Holy fuck.
Or
okay.
counting up,
Sorry,
actually.
I just looked at the critic reviews. We will get to that later. Yes, they suck. We will get to that later.
Wow.
Was that Siri?
I'm just leaving that in.
Same thing.
No, that's Alexa.
Yeah,
Alexa's
apparently.
not sure.
And now you just activated everybody's Alexa.
I'm muting it.
The Alexa the Alexa of the one person who watches this podcast. Okay, now it's muted.
Honestly, I feel like the people who own Alexa won't be watching it. Actually, no. I take that back. Because since we are on Amazon's podcast, you can actually watch it from your Amazon Alexa.
But yeah, regarding this
I'm not here to judge.
movie, I first
I'm here
watched
to
it
rate movies.
um, just before my ninth grade school year, when my family went on a
Oh, how
vacation
fun.
from to like New York, but like we also went to Washington D.C. and stayed over with some family in Pennsylvania for a bit. And this was during the Pennsylvania portion of the trip. But for a while, I got this movie confused with Juno, um, namely because I thought some of the parts with the coach who was also the health teacher, I thought those were part of the Juno movie. And those of you who know the plot of that movie can understand why I thought that. And we will watch.
Well, I haven't seen Juno,
We
and
can.
I
We
now
will
think this is
watch the
completely
Juno movie
unreasonable. How dare
eventually.
you?
Especially since like it stars Elliot Page, and it's probably the only thing we will watch with Elliot Page in it. He is a pretty
Who's Elliot
prominent
Page again?
actor. Yeah.
Oh, wait,
Umbrella
I remember
Academy
now.
came out
I
as
remember.
trans in like 2020.
Okay. Yeah, that's actually the only
Speaking of
time I've
actors,
known about them,
the
and
main
I
the main character of this movie,
don't pay
Katie
attention to
Heron, is
actors.
played by Lindsay Lohan. We will see her again. She is not really on the wheel, but there is a movie on the wheel that will be immediately replaced by a movie that is a remake of that movie, and the remake stars Lindsay Lohan. Some of you can probably guess what movie that is. Yeah.
Surprisingly, I can't. What? I know everything
Yeah,
on
that's
the
the
wheel, and
fun
I have no
part.
idea what the hell you're talking about.
Because you don't know anything about this movie.
Well, more
I
of I didn't
have
know you're going to be
actually told
replacing
you
it
I
with
was
a
going to do
remake.
that. I'm not
I
telling
feel
you
like if I
that.
hear the name, wait, what was the name?
Because I'm evil. I am a mean girl.
Why are you doing
Okay,
this to me?
that was just perfect. That setup was there, and I had to go for it.
It'd be really funny if you were saying the name of the movie right now, and it's my phone
Yeah,
that's like flipping me off at
that
certain
would be
moments
kind of
of where I
funny.
just can't hear you.
Except it's not what's happening. But anyway, regarding this movie, there's a lot of. Okay, so for one thing, there is a
Damn.
cinematherapy video on this movie. Y'all should go watch that instead of listening to us, because they do a much better job. They talk about how like Regina George isn't really the only antagonist of this movie. It's more of like pretty much everybody. Janice is an antagonist. Even Katie starts some shit too. And like I really like the whole concept of like of how she had to pretend to be plastic for a while, but then eventually really started enjoying the attention that it brought her, and at some point wasn't really pretending anymore.
They bring a word like everyone's an antagonist, and I guess, okay, syndrome's words it whenever I talk about something being everything.
Well, see,
When
the
everyone's an
interesting thing too is
antagonist,
like,
no one
Janice
is.
is an antagonist. She exhibits some toxic behaviors towards Katie, and like, wants to control her for her own purposes. But then at the same time, Janice is a victim. So we end up rooting for her a bit more. Um,
I feel like in a lot of this movie, it's just
yeah, pretty
everyone's
much.
looking out for their own
Like even
interests.
Damien's not, not innocent of this. Um, because even he's trying to
How?
like he pretty much
I
goes
can hardly
along
remember
with
what he does
everything
in the
that
movie.
Janice is like saying and doesn't really make any effort to say no, don't do that. And then there's the question of, is it really okay when Janice says that Damien is almost too gay to function? And then, okay, I do have to say, like, whatever we rate this movie, I'm automatically going to have to take points off because this movie uses the R slur and the D slur multiple times. And I don't care what movie it is, it's not okay to use slurs unless it's supposed to be like a historical setting or something. You can get away with some things depending, but I don't know. This movie did.
I mean, what about they used in that one early movie we did that
But
made
I'm a cheerleader.
sense?
Well, we rated that movie. So, like, we took
Yeah,
points off of that movie too for how like uncomfortable it made us, and the slurs were part of that. But I think with But I'm a Cheerleader, you know,
I guess.
it being uncomfortable works to its advantage because that's what it's trying to do. It's so great because it makes you uncomfortable. Almost like Joker, which we will also get to.
Not to be honest. I just want
I
the
think you
goofy
will really
Joker.
like Joker, actually, because it's not a standard superhero flick at all. In fact,
I know about the movie, but like, I also want the old Batman with the the insane Joker that's afraid of the IRS.
but yeah, I think this movie has some brilliance. It displays toxic femininity in a way that no other movie really manages to nail. Um, I, I I sort of agree with Cinema Therapy when they were talking about how, like, it's less about in that scene where they're talking about that they've got to stop calling each other sluts and whores. Um, I agree with Cinema Therapy that it's less about what they're like the words that they are using, and more about the fact that by using them they are trying to tear each other down. That's the real problem. Because you know, you a group of people can reclaim a word that is used against them to make it have less power. Like, you know, Lily and I will call each other a bitch. It's less hurtful when it like if we've sort of been reclaiming the word bitch collectively as, women, not just me and Lily, but like most women I know. So it hurts less when men call us, or at least for a lot of us, it hurts less when men call us a bitch. That's not what the girls in Mean Girls are doing. You get what I'm saying here, Lily?
Yeah, it's almost like they don't care about the words that they're using. They all they know is this word means negative thing. Say negative thing. Other girl. Feel attacked.
And then,
Say
like,
more
okay,
negative
so we
thing.
have Regina George, who is an obviously very very iconic villain. And then her mom is just the worst. She tries too hard to be a friend. She enables her kid to literally do whatever the hell she wants. And it's just like, I don't know, like calling yourself the cool mom, even as a kid in ninth grade. So this was younger, or pretty much the same age actually, as the girls in no, younger, because I think they're juniors for some reason. I think this high school is only juniors and seniors, which is weird. But so yeah, younger. I don't know. Like even at that age, I knew she wasn't really the cool mom. She was just bland.
Very,
Yeah, pretty much.
just very
And
full of
that kind of
herself.
explains where Regina gets it from. I love the idea that was it Karen or no, it was Gretchen. Gretchen, whose father supposedly invented the toaster strudel.
Oh my god, I
And
remember
then
that.
Karen, whose boobs
That
could tell
was
when it was raining.
interesting.
Yeah. It's like,
When
oh,
it was
cool.
already raining.
And she goes to she's like trying to convey that she has ESP, which is like a made up psychic sense or whatever, but then says ESPN. That kills me. That's one of the hilarious jokes. There's also
She knows
there's
the
also
sport,
this like
how the
little
sports
thing
game
too
went.
where there's this scene in the movie where Regina is talking to Katie and she turns to another girl who's walking by and is like complimenting her skirt and everything. And then when the girl walks away, Regina's like, "That's the ugliest effing skirt I've ever seen in my life." And then Katie immediately thinks of when Regina complimented her bracelet because like obviously you have to do this logically when you hear people saying something that is the opposite of what they said to you. Okay, sorry. When you hear someone do something like what Regina just did, you immediately have to think of everything they said to you and start wondering what they were lying about. Because otherwise you're just kind of naive. If they're talking about other people behind their back, they're talking about you behind yours. For real.
Very interesting game she's playing.
Oh, so another scene I really like is the talent show scene. I don't know, like the dance is like too provocative, and that's the point. But they had the absolute best recovery I have ever seen out of any school talent show. Like that is S tier recovery. Like after a screw up that big, most people would have just left the stage.
Well, the great thing about this is they're all handed scripts. That
I
was the
mean, like
punchline.
the whole point is like, you know, it's still believable that at a high school talent show, a recovery like that could have happened. Because like I've had to also like do recovery sort of things when I've screwed up something. Usually like one example that comes to mind is like I was doing a presentation in one of my college classes. I believe it was speech. And I needed my computer to do something, and it didn't because Windows being inconsistent. Yeah, exactly.
Because
It
that
didn't.
would
So I
be
had to
way
do
too
recovery. And
convenient for
like
you.
I would say I did it pretty well. Um, but I really wish like of course I'm always gonna wish things went better with that, but still. I mean, what are you gonna do?
Sue Windows. Break a window.
Sue Windows, yeah. Um, yeah.
Yeah,
It would
just sue
definitely
Microsoft. See how that would
yeah, it
go.
would definitely go over very,
Failing
very
immediately.
well. Just absolutely brilliantly.
I
What
don't
about
think
a
there's a
dead
lawyer
lawyer? Do
alive
you think a
who
dead
would take
lawyer would
that
take
case.
that case? But
Maybe because
actually,
they're already
technically,
dead, but it would be
a
hard to
lawyer,
summon them.
if no lawyer was willing to take the case, someone would be forced to. Because
No one would. I feel like that case would end
yeah,
so
it probably
fast,
wouldn't make it
the
to
lawyer would
trial.
barely
Like
have time to do
most legal
something.
battles don't make it to trial at all.
Yeah. I feel like it wouldn't even
But
last the
yeah,
first
it's
week.
there's other things too in this movie that I really love. There was something else that I was going to comment on, and now I can't remember what it was. I also really like the scene at the end where Katie is like, where she breaks apart the crown and gives out pieces to everybody. Like that was a really good scene. It showed great character growth and everything. And now I remember what I was going to say before. This movie has mid-movie narration, and for once, it's actually good. Like, okay, so most of the time, mid-movie narration is
Explain.
terrible because usually it's used to either like describe events that happened or drop exposition or, you know, give you details about a character. But no, what this
This
movie
is more like
does
time
with
skips.
narration is give us the main character's thoughts. And that is pretty much the only way that I think you can do mid-movie narration and have it work.
Actually, now that I think about it,
Yeah, it's
kind
almost
of
like
like a
this
book.
movie was based on a book.
But now that has me thinking. If it is, having the character's thoughts,
Could
this is
be.
probably one
Could
of the
be.
best
I
movie
don't
adaptations
have any
ever.
way of
Because
knowing like how accurate it is to the book. Uh,
that's true. And who knows if they even wanted it to be accurate to the book. They probably just, saw this book and like, I kind of want to make a movie loosely based
yeah,
on it.
like
And that's just
Jumanji is
where
very
it's
different
based
to
from.
the book. So is Forrest Gump.
And the fact that you didn't even know about the book probably means it wasn't meant, like you didn't need to read it to even get
Yeah.
a partial understanding.
Yeah, and
The
then like on
movie
top
was
of
not
that, they
tied to
even
the book
changed the
at all.
name. The movie and the book have different names, so they're
Also, hearing the book name, It's definitely reminding
Yeah, and
me
then
of
like
the
they
plot
also
of
say
this
Queen Bee a
movie,
couple
though.
of times throughout the movie. And
Hmm. Queen Bee controls the hives. This I've always found this more like a puppet show. You had the puppeteerist, and then controlling
yeah,
your
and
entourage.
this movie also has just like a lot of iconic things coming from it. Mom, come pick me up, I'm scared. Is a thing.
Wait, was
On Wednesdays we wear pink.
that? I
There
don't know
are
if that.
actually still a lot of people who wear pink every Wednesday, or at least on some Wednesdays, to celebrate this movie. Um, there's. I was literally about to say that.
She doesn't even go here.
There's that line. That's a pretty famous one. Well, this is sufficiently awkward is another one. Um, but yeah, it's and
I
then
feel like there's
don't
more
have sex
lines.
or else you will get pregnant and die.
Oh, that's and die. That's the one I was thinking about. Okay.
Now here, have some rubbers.
Here are some
like
covers.
abstinence. Okay, I do want to briefly touch on
Oh yeah,
abstinence only
and the
sex
ending
ed.
scene.
It's fucking terrible. Like, I think the
Ugh.
only reason that a parent should ever pull their kid out of sex ed is if it's abstinence only sex ed, because that's pretty much what I had at my school. It was abstinence only sex ed and some like brief conversations about AIDS, but no information about like how gay men were at a higher risk of AIDS. They didn't mention that at all.
The Avery abstaining is the
For
best
real,
thing.
it's
Do
just
you want to
like,
die?
and then they showed they sort of the whole thing with the burn book revealing that the coach was a pedo. What that was a thing, and yes, I know that's technically not the correct term. I don't care. All right, the people who care that much about it are probably the predators. I don't really know. There's like
What the
different
hell is
terms
this the
for
correct
like
term?
babies, and then between that and like puberty, and then between that and adulthood.
Wow, my caring
Yeah, exactly.
just
It's like
like
it's
went on
hard
an
to explain.
all-time
Like it's
low.
one of those things where like it's hard to explain it without sounding like a pedophile.
It really it sounds like one of those things. Like, no, I'm not that bad. Is I'm
Yeah,
one of these.
exactly.
I'm not, one of those.
It's
Like,
like, ooh, you want to get into semantics. It doesn't matter. They're all fucking disgusting. Can we move on?
um, so at my school, we actually went into this so much detail. Jesus Christ,
Well,
there's so much
good,
detail
because
on
that's
the like
really
sex
what
ed
you
and
need.
whatnot. A shame I couldn't remember any of it, except condoms, because those were like literally 99%, and then every other birth control thing, we had
Well,
to
see,
write
it's
down the
like,
percentages on that. If only
if
had those resources
see,
that we
like
used to gain those.
I don't
Because
know.
then I could
It's like
relearn
there are
them.
people out there who
I
seem to
forgot the
think that
links.
sex ed is going to drive teenagers to have sex. No, they're going to do that anyway. What good sex ed will do is, like, first of all, it will allow people to recognize when they are being taken advantage of and be able to properly communicate it to authorities. So the people who are taking advantage of children, whether it be like young children, teens, or whatever, those people are more likely to get caught. The second thing it does is it lowers the risk of teen pregnancy because teens are going to have sex anyway. So it's better that they have safe sex. And it also, in lowering the rate of teen pregnancy, it also lowers the rate of teens contracting STIs. So. Go
Okay,
ahead.
are we done with this? Because that's something else I want to talk about. So, remember, like, at the end of the movie where those three
Yeah.
kids just got totally run over by the bus? I'm just thinking about, like, damn, they were actually extremely
Yeah.
close to
I
having
also
that
love how, like,
reality
when
matchup.
Regina got hit by the bus, Katie was like, and that's how Regina George died. No, I'm totally kidding. I'm like, yep, that is perfect. See, there's reasons why this movie is so beloved. Apparently.
Except by critics.
Yeah. I
Well, let's read them now. Because that was the
don't
perfect. I set
I
up that
really
perfect
don't
segue
understand critics
to not let
sometimes.
go to waste.
Okay, so IMDb gives this a 7.1. Yeah, that's not that bad. Rotten
Not that bad.
Tomatoes is the best one at an 84.
Oh,
Metacritic, which is the average
okay.
of critic review scores, is at a 66.
Okay.
That is not average.
Average, I guess.
I'm sorry, that is way too low. And then Google users, once again, is at 89%.
Nice. Is
Yeah, for real.
89% to
Okay,
be the new funny
I
number,
think
guys?
89% is too low. There's too much going on with this movie. There's too much brilliance in the psychology of it. But how much of it can really be credited to this movie and how much it should be given to the book's credit, I really won't know until I read it. If I read it.
I and obviously I'm just like, blindfolding myself and taking a shot in the dark here. I want to say that this movie just says, like, the film creator just read a book and said, damn, this book reminds me of something. Reminds me of this movie
And then,
plot
like,
I'm going to be making
there's
right
even the
now.
brilliance of, like, when
So I don't.
Janice, like, Cinema Therapy talked about this too, where when Janice is, like, describing her plan, she's using a plastic sword to point at the the board where she's written on it, like, the three things that they are going to take away from Regina George. And it's like, oh, what a and it's like, oh, what a minor
Why does she
detail. Why
have a
is that a big
plastic
deal?
sword?
No, the thing is, everything in a movie is planned out. Somebody had to decide that a plastic sword was going to be in that scene. And it's just brilliance there because it shows how serious she is about this. And it's really like both Janice and Regina manipulating Katie throughout the whole movie, and I find it intriguing. But yeah, oh fuck, I never premeditated a rating for this movie. Uh-huh.
Oh, that's so unlike you.
So, do you want to give your rating?
Well, since I'm like
Yeah, but
myself,
you're better
I
at coming
also
up with
did
them on
not
the spot.
premeditate. uh, it's my expertise. No, I'll be honest. This movie
In what
has got
ways?
me really puzzled. Well, in multiple, and in some ways it was really funny. In some ways, I just, I don't know, a little bit awkward here, but also funny. It has a wide variety of emotions. Sometimes I don't really know what I'm trying to figure out what rating this movie deserves. I want to say around 7 to 8ish. I mean, it was a good movie, but obviously, I have my own what I like about my favorite movies are
Yeah,
stuff
you're
with
more of a
dragons,
fantasy
not
type
real
person.
life. Yeah,
Yeah.
still the jokes top notch. So I think I
See,
just
I'm actually
8.
gonna go a little
Why not?
further. And um, so initially at face value, I would give this movie an 8.6, but because of two different slurs, it removes 2 points from this movie's score, bringing it down to an 8.4. And I think that's where I'm willing to sit with it.
Hmm. Now we actually have gone a good time, but I feel like we should
Um,
explain what is happening
yeah.
tomorrow.
So tomorrow, Lily and I will be recording Thor. It is currently Friday, um, and you guys will actually receive that episode tomorrow. Um,
I mean, I said tomorrow in the sense of tomorrow they're going to be receiving it. I guess. Actually,
like
who
one
watches this
person.
podcast when it comes out? Really?
Maybe we our podcast just doesn't perform well currently.
Maybe. Who knows? Maybe a year from now we're famous
No,
and everyone's like rushing to watch
that'll
our
never
older
happen.
stuff. What
But
if we
yeah,
get
we're going
so
to be.
famous that everyone's like, nah, the older stuff is so much better than the
Yeah,
newer
but
stuff. They
we're
just
going to be
totally
taking a new
failed at the
approach
newer
with the
stuff.
MCU because we really just want to get through it faster. I think we last covered Iron Man 2 like when we were
Speak for
recording
yourself.
Iron Man 2 I think in January and it's May now and we still haven't gotten any farther. So, yeah, we're going to take a new approach and we'll probably be covering an MCU movie or Disney Plus miniseries when we get there every month, the day after the free movie of the month. We
We're
probably
still
won't
looking
call it
for a good name
anything.
to call this. I want to call it at least something.
Yes, you will.
I'll sleep on it.
But anyway, until next time, I've been Kylie, that's been Lily, and we will be seeing you.